Republicans in Congress are pushing a central bank digital currency once again disguised as a ban so they can surveil and control every dollar you spend. Will it be the Republicans who make you eat the bugs? Republicans in Congress are currently pushing a housing bill that does some useful things to red tape zoning and mortgage rates, while doing some shady things. This is Congress, remember? Like letting banks print money they don't have and handing free money to people with bad credit, which didn't work in 2008. But hidden deep in the bowels is a little gem that effectively greenlights a central bank digital currency, Cbdc, so long as Wall Street gets a piece of the action. So a Cbdc is a kind of government-run crypto token that would replace the dollar with a centralized database that lets bureaucrats see and report every dollar you spend and lets them block anything they don't like. It's a stablecoin, but a government stablecoin. Now, this already happens in the banking system. Banks send the government transaction reports anytime you move 10 grand, and so-called suspicious activity reports if you do anything weird, both in blatant violation of the Fourth Amendment, requiring probable cause for government spying. Meanwhile, banks can and do control your money. Remember the Canadian trucker protests that forced banks to freeze protesters' accounts using powers we also have thanks to the Patriot Act. The difference is a CBDC does this to all of your dollars, not just your bank account. There is no escape unless you're paying the mortgage and groceries in gold or perhaps Bitcoin. China naturally is the world leader in CBDCs. It's bragged about the fact it can freeze any spending. It even allows negative interest rates where your money literally loses 8% a month unless you spend it, which is handy to force more spending in time for the next election. Aside from China, another 71 countries are building CBDCs or running pilots. Now, the Federal Reserve was running a pilot, but Trump ended that with an executive order as soon as he took office. Enter the housing bill, which already turned into a vehicle to cripple private stablecoins. I talked about that yesterday. But it also adds a CBDC ban that actually promotes a CBDC. The reason is there's two kinds of CBDCs. A retail CBDC, where the Fed issues tokens to the public, meaning you replace your bank with a bank account at the Fed, and a wholesale CBDC where the Fed issues tokens only to banks. The housing bill only bans the retail CBDC. It allows wholesale. This is a problem because retail terrifies Wall Street because millions of people would pull out their money and park it at the Fed because there's zero risk at the Fed. It cannot go bust. It is a giant counterfeiting machine. Wholesale, on the other hand, deals banks in. They can keep fleecing you just with a new backdoor for the bureaucrats. That flips the enormous Wall Street lobbying machine from anti-CBDC to pro-CBDC.
Get more crypto for your cash and get started with as little as $1.
Hello, everyone, and well, talked about this, and I see a lot of these Bitcoin maxis now saying that XRP failed because the U.S. is not going to have a central bank digital currency. Well, we're not going to have one until 2030. But why 2030? Because of the New World Order, UN Agenda 2030 mission goals. One world government, end of nations, one world army, one world body police force, and so on. Everything is about one world everything. And then I remembered a clip from Larry Fink. Most people heard this and right away they said, well, we're just pushing towards tokenization. But there was something in this clip he said that shows you that BlackRock is still all about Agenda 2030. Take a listen.
What I think about most of these cryptocurrencies, it just identifies how much money laundering there is being done in the world, how much people are trying to move currencies from one place to another. So I actually believe you're seeing the demand for it. But let's be clear, if we created a true global digital currency, I hate the word crypto.
Take notice he said global digital currency, but he hates to say crypto. So could it be XRP as that one world digital currency? You know, a lot of people watch these clips, but they miss the important parts. And the things that these people say matter because they are controlled by the elite agenda. Ripple joins MasterCard to ease central bank digital currency use. But why did MasterCard join Ripple? Why does everyone turn to Ripple? Because Ripple is already working on central bank digital currencies. Take a listen to Brad here.
That is, Ripple has invested and is working with about 10 different governments around the world to do central bank digital currencies. I mean, a central bank digital currency is a stablecoin. It's just issued by the government.
Take notice what Brad said. A stablecoin is a central bank digital currency. It's just issued by the government. And I think since that clip dropped, Ripple is now working with about 20 different countries on their central bank digital currency. Catherine Fitz here. She talks about the U. And I always tell you this, but I'm never getting that chip. And take a listen to Catherine Fitz here. She talks about the U.S. Navy working with Ripple to create that chip.
Well, if you look at the planning and the design and the competition, it's fluid right now. You know, there's competition over what the design will be. It was very interesting. I won't bore you with all the details, but I had an incredible experience in Denmark a year ago, and I was trying to figure out what's going on in Denmark. They had one of the tech firms in Denmark was being paid by the U.S. Navy to come up with a chip that could be implanted in the human body that would integrate with Ripple. Was being paid by the U.S. Navy. Denmark, they had one of the tech firms in Denmark was being paid by the U.S. Navy to come up with a chip that could be implanted in the human body that would integrate with Ripple.